Puddle Lane, the Sandalwood Girl. The Sandalwood Girl. There was once a very old house. It stood in a big wild garden at the end of Puddle Lane. A magician lived in an attic room under the roof, but the rest of the house was empty. That is to say, it was empty except for some old toys. The toys had been left behind in an empty attic room. When the people moved out of the house, they had forgotten all about the toys. There was a clown and a monkey and 3 or 4 puppets from an old toy theatre. There was a rocking horse and a young lion cub. They all lay there in the dust. A wooden girl sat on a dusty shelf by the window. She was made of sandalwood. Children had once loved to play with her, but no one ever came to play with her now. The sandalwood girl was very lonely. She stared out of the dusty window at the tree which grew outside. Sometimes birds flew into the tree. Sometimes she saw cats climbing up it, but they never came into the attic, and the sandalwood girl grew very sad. One night, when the moon was shining down and the wind was blowing a gale, the window cord broke. The window fell open. A big white owl flew in at the window. The owl had been out all night in the wind. He flew down onto a shelf near the sandalwood girl, and he went to sleep. The owl slept on the shelf all day. When night came, he flew out of the attic again. After that, he often came back to sleep on the shelf. The sandalwood girl couldn't speak, but she was very glad to see him. The days didn't seem quite so long with the barn owl sleeping there. There was a clock on the roof of the old house. An iron boy stood by the clock. The iron boy sounded the hours. He struck the bell with a silver hammer so that everyone knew what time it was. North, south, east, west. One night the moon was shining down. The sandalwood girl was sitting on the shelf. The sandalwood girl was feeling very lonely. The owl was away hunting. She heard the iron boy strike the hours. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At 12 o'clock she was still listening. She was waiting for the iron boy to strike midnight. She heard the iron boy begin to strike the bell. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The iron boy had struck the bell 13 times. The sandalwood girl was so surprised that she sat up, and then she was even more surprised to find that she could sit up. She tried to move her arms, and she could move her arms. She tried to move her legs, and she could move her legs. She tried to stand up, and she could stand up. The sandalwood girl stepped up to the edge of the shelf. She leaned out to look over the edge, and she fell off the shelf. She fell onto the dusty floor. She lay there for a moment, looking up at the window. The sandalwood girl hadn't hurt herself, and she hadn't broken anything. After a moment, she got up and looked all around. The door of the room was open. The Sandalwood Girl walked across to the open door. Her legs were very stiff, but she found that she could walk. She looked around the door. The Sandalwood Girl saw an empty passage. At the end of the passage, there was another door. A light was shining under it, and the door was a little way open. The Sandalwood Girl walked slowly down the passage. She wasn't used to walking, and she still walked very stiffly. She came to the door of the other room. She opened the door and looked in. An old man was sitting in a chair by the fire. He looked up and saw the Sandalwood Girl. Come in, said the old man. Come in. You're just too late to meet the Iron Boy. The Iron Boy has just gone. The Sandalwood Girl went into the room. Are you the magician? She asked. Yes, I'm the magician, said the old man. What can I do for you? The Sandalwood Girl looked at the magician. He sounded very gruff, but he looked very kind. Please help me, she whispered. Please help me. I've been sitting on a shelf for years and years. When the clock struck 13, I found that I could move. I can talk to you too, but I want to be really alive. I want to be free. The magician looked at the Sandalwood Girl. You want to be free? He said. Yes, said the Sandalwood Girl. I want to be free, and I want to be really alive. Are you sure? Asked the magician. The world is a dangerous place. You're safe here in this house. You can walk about and talk to me. You won't be lonely anymore. Do you really want to be free? I want to be free, said the Sandalwood Girl. I want to be free. The magician sighed. I want to grow up, said the Sandalwood Girl. I want to be really alive. The magician shook his head. It will be very difficult, he said. I don't care, said the Sandalwood Girl. I don't care how difficult it is. Very well, said the magician. I can't make you really alive myself, not more alive than you are now, but I can tell you what you must do. Please tell me, said the Sandalwood Girl. You will have to go away, said the magician. You will have to go a long way away. I will go anywhere, said the Sandalwood Girl. Then you must make a long journey, said the magician. A long way away from here, there is a country called Zorn. It is a magical country. You must go to the country of Zorn and find your way to the Blue Mountains. High up in the Blue Mountains, you will find the Silver River. If you wash in the Silver River, you will become really alive. How can I get there? Asked the Sandalwood Girl. How can I find the way? I know a white owl, said the magician. He's a friend of mine. He knows the way to the country of Zorn. He'll take you. A white owl sometimes slept on a shelf in the attic, said the Sandalwood Girl. That's the one, said the magician. He told me he was sleeping there. I'll call him if you like. But are you sure you want to go? It will be a dangerous journey. You would be much safer if you stayed here with me. You are very kind, but I must go, said the Sandalwood Girl. Can I go now? The magician sighed. That's what the Iron Boy said. The Iron Boy who struck the bell. He's gone to the country of Zorn. You may meet him there. Well, if you really want to go, I will call the barn owl. I'm ready, said the Sandalwood Girl. But before I go, please tell me my name. You haven't a name, said the magician. If you ever had one, I've forgotten it, but it doesn't matter. You'll find a name in the country of Zorn. The magician got up. He went to the window and opened it. He gave a long, low call. The big white owl came flying in through the window. He landed on the back of the magician's chair. The magician stood up. Welcome, Barn Owl, he said. I have something for you to do. You must take the Sandalwood girl to the country of Zorn. She wants to be really alive. She wants to grow up. Set her down safely on the edge of the country of Zorn and come back to me. The magician picked up the Sandalwood girl and set her carefully on the owl's back. Hold on tight, Sandalwood girl, he said. Goodbye, and may good luck go with you. The barn owl spread his wings. He flew out of the open window with the Sandalwood girl on his back. They flew over the houses and over the trees, over the hills and under the stars, until at last they came to the country of Zorn. Then the owl flew down to the ground, and the Sandalwood girl got off his back. You must find your own way now, said the owl. You must find your own way to the Blue Mountains. I must fly back to the magician. I will, said the Sandalwood girl. Thank you, Barn Owl. I will never forget you. And I shall never forget you, said the owl. The owl lifted his wings and flew away under the stars. The Sandalwood girl looked at the trees and the hills. I am in the country of Zorn, she said. I am in the country of Zorn. I will find my way to the Blue Mountains, and then I shall be really alive.